So today's video is going to be about my favorite top drugstore foundations. This video, honestly, when I sat down to pick them out, was really hard because I have so many that I really like, and picking out the ones that I just love and narrowing them down to just a few, so this video isn't 5 hours long and I'm basically showing you every single foundation in my collection, was really hard. I mean, I love foundation. It's probably one of my favorite makeup items. I would venture to say, besides highlights, I can't pick a favorite, but it's one of my top 3 for sure. I don't know, there's something about foundation I just love. I just love all the different finishes, and I love, this is gonna sound crazy, but the different way bottles look, and packaging sometimes gets me. I love foundation, I just love it. So I thought, you know what, I'm gonna sit down and go through some of the ones that are my absolute 100% top drugstore foundations and tell you why I like them, and all that stuff. So let's get started. So that, like I said, I don't want this video to be a million miles long because you guys know I can talk. But my first one I'm going to talk about is this one right here. I know you know it was coming if you watched any of my videos, especially if you watched my all-time favorite drugstore products video. It's this guy right here. This is the L'Oreal True Match Lumi. I'm in the shade C3. I absolutely love this foundation. I'm not going to go into a bunch of detail about it because I literally just spoke about this 3 or 4 videos ago when I went through my drugstore products. But this is just a beautiful foundation. It has a gorgeous finish. It's very luminescent. It's really a really nice foundation if you have more mature skin because it just gives you that nice, beautiful, youthful glow, or that glow from within. I love the fact that it separates the colors between warm and cool. I just think this is really a nice foundation. So this one is definitely number 1. Next up on my list, I have to say, is going to be this one. This is the Revlon Color Stay. I have the one for normal to dry skin, and I am in the shade 240 Medium Beige. I absolutely love this foundation when I know that I'm going to be in taking pictures or things like that because it photographs beautifully. For a drugstore foundation, this photographs so pretty. I mean, it's one of my favorite foundations. Obviously, that's why it's in this video, but I love the fact that they separate this between normal to dry skin and normal to oily skin, or I think it's combo to oily skin. I can't remember exactly what the other bottle says, but I love the fact that they separate those two out. I think it's really nice when makeup companies take into consideration that there are different types of skin out there. Some people could be like me and have extremely dry skin, and if you have a foundation that's too thick or too you know, matte, it kicks up in my dry patches and it flakes off like I'm some kind of mummy. It's horrible. But then again, there are those people who have very oily skin that need those kinds of thick foundations that if you had a dewy foundation would just slide right off their skin. So I really love it when companies do that. I think that it's just a really considerable thing for the buyers who are purchasing these products to take into consideration when they make these things. So this is a very full coverage foundation. It's a full coverage without looking cakey. That's another thing that I really like about it. It covers all my freckles, all my imperfections, looks beautiful in photographs, but does not look cakey, and it definitely does not cling to my dry patches. It doesn't flake off or anything like that. I love the fact that they have so many to choose from because, like I said, not everybody's skin type or tone is the same. So I think it's wonderful that they have a nice wide range to go from. If you are going to be getting married, this is an excellent foundation to use because it doesn't cause flashback. Even though I do believe it has SPF, it has SPF 20 in it, it doesn't have flashback. I've used it on multiple brides, I've used it on myself, and I get no problems with flashback whatsoever. I've worn this when I've done other videos filming, and it just films and photographs absolutely beautifully. So this is my go-to foundation when I know that I'm going to be taking pictures and I don't use one of my other higher end foundations. This one is another one of my favorites. I don't see a whole lot of people talking about this. This is the Rimmel Match Perfection Light Perfecting Radiant Sunscreen Foundation. I think this is probably one of my dewiest drugstore foundations. I mean, it rivals my L'Oreal True Match Lumi in the luminosity and the dewy finish of it. It's just a really gorgeous cover. It's not super full coverage, but you can build it up if you want to make it more full coverage. But it just gives me such a wonderful, pretty glow. It sounds terrible to say, but you've kind of been running around and you're a little bit shiny almost because, you know, you're getting warm, but it looks good almost. I don't know if that makes any sense. This kind of gives me that. This gives me that nice glowy, dewy finish. I absolutely love it. The only thing I will say about this one, I do not care for the bottle. It doesn't have a pump. You just have to pour it out. For me, I mean, it doesn't keep me from purchasing or using the foundation because, like I said, I absolutely love the formulation of this foundation, but it is kind of a pain in the butt when you're trying to put it on because, you know, I usually will pour some in the back of my hand, and sometimes it's very runny because it is so luminous, and it can just make a big mess. And I'm one of those people who's OCD about things kicking up around the threads of my bottle and in my cap. If it's not clean, it drives me nuts. So that's probably the only downside of this one. And this one I'm in the shade 202 Nude. I think they have new packaging for this. It's either new packaging or they're calling it something new. I can't remember exactly what it was. I saw it in the store the other day and I was like, oh wow, it's different. But pick this up if you are in the market for a dewy foundation, because this is very inexpensive. I want to say it's less than $7, and it's extremely dewy and very, very pretty. Like I said, it's just not the most full coverage foundation. So if you're looking for something that's more full coverage, this one is probably not going to be your go-to. But if you are looking for something that is very dewy and luminous, this is going to be your go-to. Another thing I will have to say that kind of sort of put me off at first, not put me off, but I was just kind of like, ooh. It kind of has a strong smell. It's not necessarily a bad smell. It doesn't stink. It doesn't smell chemically. It just has a strong smell, and it does linger on your skin for a few minutes, but after you're done, like by the time you've finished your entire face of makeup, the smell dissipates. You don't smell it anymore. But when you first put it on, be aware that it's kind of like, ooh, wow, it's got a smell to it. Yeah, so that's another thing with this one. I wouldn't necessarily say it's a downside because, like I said, it doesn't stop me from using the foundation, but it does have a smell. So just beware if you're sensitive to smells. Now, if I am looking for something that is super full coverage, this one I was so surprised. Oh my goodness. Okay, so this is the L'Oreal Infallible Total Cover. I am in the shade 303 Nude Beige. I was so shocked when I got this foundation because I have the L'Oreal Infallible Pro Glow and I have the L'Oreal Infallible Matte. And I like them, but they definitely are not my favorites. I mean, I still use them, of course, but they're definitely not my favorites. So when I purchased this, I wasn't expecting it to like it as much as I did. I was kind of expecting for it to be one of those like, oh, you know, I'm going to use this one today, kind of middle of the row foundations. This is awesome. When they talk about total cover, they are not kidding. This stuff covers all of my freckles, any blemishes. I mean, you can't see anything. My skin looks absolutely flawless with this. And because of the formulation of it, it's almost a little bit moussey and like airy. I don't find that it gets really cakey looking on me. I will use it with a beauty blender, and sometimes if I'm feeling a little extra dry, I actually will mix a little bit of beauty oil in with the foundation when I apply it, just to kind of help give it a little bit of viscosity, not to be quite so thick, if, like I said, if I'm having an extra dry skin day. But man, this stuff is awesome. I tell you, I go to this for my full coverage foundation, sometimes over my other higher end full coverage foundations, because I know that this guy's gonna perform well and I know that it doesn't get cakey. So it's a really, really good purchase. I've even heard that this is supposed to cover tattoos. Now, I don't know how true that is, but I mean, that's some serious coverage if this can cover, you know, something that's inked into your skin. I wish I could get the same look with this foundation in the L'Oreal Infallible Pro Glow, because my preference is more for a dewy foundation. I like dewier finishes as opposed to matte finishes. This is definitely a matte finish. You will not have any glow to your skin after you add this to it. So that's my only, I would say, like, you know, preference. I wish I could get that, you know, the best of both worlds, but I can't, so it's fine. Sometimes I actually will mix those two together, the L'Oreal Infallible Pro Glow and this one together. It does make a nice combination. It does sheer this one out a little bit. It also says on here that it's 24 hours. Now, I don't know anybody that wears their foundation for 24 hours, but if you have to be out for 24 hours and awake, apparently this is claiming to stay put for 24 hours. I would believe that's probably pretty accurate because, I mean, like I said, this stuff covers and it doesn't go anywhere. It is a really, really nice foundation. So last one I want to talk about my like love and like my go-tos is going to be this one right here. This is the Milani Conceal and Perfect 2-in-1 foundation and concealer. I am in the shade 01 Creamy Vanilla. I have not used this in a video yet, but I do use this off camera all the time. It is also a very high coverage concealer. My only complaint about this is at first when you put this on, the undertone kind of looks weird. It almost looks a little bit yellowy, but as the longer that I'm wearing it, or by the time I finish with my makeup, it does match my skin tone. It's a very nice foundation. The finish is really pretty. It definitely has full coverage. I haven't used it as concealer, so I haven't like taken the foundation all the way up underneath my eyes and used it that way too. Just because I prefer to use a concealer for concealer, because I prefer something a little bit more creamy and things like that, just because the skin under my eyes is, you know, a little bit looser than it used to be. But this is an excellent foundation. I find that it just is really pretty, kind of like a go-to foundation. Like you know what you're gonna get with this. You know it's gonna look nice. You know makeup blends flawlessly on top of this. Whether you set it with powder or not, it's a really good foundation. So those are gonna be the ones that I think are excellent, the ones that I like the most. I do want to mention another, well, I guess it's two, but it's kind of the same more or less, an honorable mention, and that is going to be these two right here. This is the Maybelline Matte and Poreless and the Maybelline Dewy and Smooth. These are from the Fit Me line. I think that I wanted to mention these as honorable mention because these foundations are excellent foundations. They're really good. I use them all the time. They are not necessarily full coverage, but you can build them up. But I wanted to mention them because I absolutely love the fact that it breaks it down again, like I said, between finishes. So you can get the matte and poreless if you want a more matte finish, and you can get the dewy and smooth if you want a dewy finish. This is not as dewy as my L'Oreal True Match Lumi or my Rimmel Match Perfection. These are both dewier foundations than the dewy and smooth. But the fact that there are so many choices is amazing. I mean, if you go into the store and you look at the Fit Me section in Maybelline, you will see a huge range of shades. And I absolutely love that because I think that that is just so smart for companies to do, knowing that there are people out there who are going to be purchasing your products. If you provide them with the range that they need, I wish more companies did it. I wish more companies provided a selection for everybody. In both the Matte and Poreless and Dewy Smooth, I am in shade 120 Classic Ivory. But yeah, I wanted to give these guys an honorable mention because I think it is just an amazing amazing line. The Fit Me line altogether I think is amazing because they have such a great range and such great products. You guys know I love the Maybelline Fit Me concealers. I use them all the time. I think they're excellent concealers. So yeah, I just wanted to mention those guys because I think that they deserve to be mentioned when you're talking about drugstore foundations. Even though it wouldn't necessarily be like on my like fave list, I definitely think that they're awesome products. So that's gonna be it. Like I said, this is kind of a short video, but I just wanted to come on here and talk about the few that I have that are definitely in more of my top foundation ranges. Foundations are one of my favorite things to buy, whether it be drugstore or high-end. I love foundation, and I actually think I want to do another video just like this where I talk about my favorite higher-end foundations, like non-drugstore foundations. So if that's something you think we'd be interested in seeing, definitely let me know. If there's any other video kind of like this where you want me to break things down and talk about what I like and what I don't, or which ones are like my faves of all the things that I have, definitely let me know and I will do that for you. I just thought this one would be informative, and I thought it could be helpful to somebody who's foundation shopping to get somebody else's opinion about what they think that before they purchase it, because we all know at the drugstore there is a lot to choose from. So I'm going to stop rambling and end this video here. Please give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Click the subscribe button to see more videos from me. Don't forget SPF is your best friend, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye!